Hey everyone, I'm Michelle.
I'm Lance.
And this is baby Olivia. And welcome to our Love It story.
Today we're going to be telling you the story of how we met. All right, so we met about 11 years ago. We met at church. I had been going to this church for a while, and Michelle actually was brand new to the church. And I remember it was a pretty big church, so there's like a lot of people, big screens, all that. So everything is kind of like amplified. So she actually got baptized. I don't know if it wasn't her first time there, but it was this particular night she was getting baptized. And I remember seeing her on the big screen, right? And like just kind of being like, you know, like in the moment, like kind of like praying, but like
But
but like
like.
it's hard to not say likes. Dang it.
Jeez. But like.
Okay, so I was praying. She's getting baptized. I look up. I see her on the screen, and I'm, pretty much like that one. Like, Jesus, I want that one. I hadn't been dating for a while or anything, so I wasn't even really. I was really surprised that I was like very much interested. And so it's a big church, right? She gets baptized, and then at the end of the service, I tell myself, okay, I have to go say hi, introduce myself or whatever. So I make it a point to do that, and of course, there's literally like a line of people saying hi to her and congratulations on being baptized and all this stuff. I don't remember exactly how I did it, but I made sure to go and just say like, oh, congratulations. You don't remember any of that, right? Yeah, she didn't. I thought for sure, come out now. She's gonna not remember me. That was the first time that I had ever spoken to her. But when was the first time that you remember me?
Yeah, so I was in a life group, and then at the church they were doing a trunk and treat, and we had like a common friend. I guess him and this friend went to like high school together or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was just letting him know, I'm like, hey, and I was like, we're gonna go see, I think it was like a magic show or
Oh, yeah, as a
something.
magician.
Yeah, and that's the first time I kind of saw Lance, and like our friend introduced us, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. I was like, hey, do you want to come with us? And he kind of was like, nah. But I guess this would be like his like 12th time seeing it or something. But I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then we just kind of got talking, which the funny part was I had my hair straightened and he had like a wig on.
Oh, yeah,
he
because
had
we were
like,
dressed up.
yeah, he had like longer hair. And so I was like, okay. And then he invited me to soccer, and I was like, oh, cool. I was like, I love soccer, obviously. So that's kind of how it first started. So he kind of just said no. I wasn't thinking anything about it, but I guess it ate him up a little bit.
Yeah. No, so they had like, whole thing going on where they have a show and all that stuff. And so I had already seen this magician and wasn't very much impressed. So like when she invited me, I didn't think anything of it like as a like, oh yeah, like like go with her, dummy, and it didn't dawn on me till later. And I was like, dude, you're stupid. What'd you do? You blew it. But luckily we had been talking and we had a shared interest in soccer and music. And so I was like beating myself up the whole night because literally I could have been hanging out with her. But then I remember later that night, I think you actually on Facebook like sent me a message, kind of like saying like, oh hey,
Yeah, I think because you invited me to play soccer and I couldn't
yeah.
make it, so I was just like hitting you up, like saying, hey,
Let's
I can't make
reschedule
it,
or something. Yeah.
or something like that. And then I was like, oh, something about the guitar. And then you're like, oh, I play guitar. And I was like, what? And so I was like, do you want to teach me? And he's like, yeah. And so we ended up setting a date for him to teach me. and I haven't seen him since. I think it's been like a couple days, maybe. I don't know. I can't really recall, but I haven't seen you since. And so we go into this coffee shop, and I'm texting him, and I'm like, hey, like, where are you? Because, like, I see this guy in, like, a corner with, like, a laptop, and he's, like, waving at me, but he does not have, like, long hair or anything. So I was like, oh, my God, this, like, weird person is, like, waving at me. I don't even know who they are. And I text him, like, where are you? And he's like, here I am, Michelle. And it was him in the corner. And I was like, oh, you cut your hair. And he's like, no, I was wearing a wig. And I was like, oh, duh. Like, that never, like, occurred to me. Like, oh, Halloween, duh.
It's just funny because I never thought like you would have thought that was my real hair. It was like, I thought it was pretty clear that because I was like I always dress the same, just like this rock star. It literally is nothing. It's just a wig with like a bandana. And so I thought it was clear, but obviously she had never seen me before that. So yeah, it makes sense. But yeah, I remember I felt so stupid because I was like, and she's like, where? She's like, I was like, oh no, is she pretending that she doesn't like, she's not here to hang out with me?
Yeah, but I thought that was, after that, you were kind of like telling me like how you're a wedding videographer and you were like editing.
Oh,
and
yeah,
stuff.
that's right, yeah.
So I thought that was cool. And for you guys, I know you guys are asking like, Michelle, did you ever learn? No. He tried to teach me.
Learn what?
Guitar. He even bought me a guitar, electric guitar. And that thing is still shining in its case.
That was honestly one of the like coolest videos that I have is of the Christmas when I gave her the guitar. It's a warming, it's a heartfelt video because she like is totally surprised, and yeah, that was very nice. And she never played the guitar. Okay, so we met at church, and then we met again at church where she finally remembered me. And then we planned to play soccer, but that didn't go through. But we ended up getting together so that I could teach her guitar. And then from there, we started hanging out more. And we would pretty much just hang out when we were helping out at church. When I was helping out with the high school ministry, she was helping out with the junior high ministry. That's where we would, see each other and hang out.
Yeah, and then also we played soccer. We played a lot of soccer. I think on Sundays after church or
Right.
something with a couple of friends, which was fun. I missed that.
So we had been talking a few months, and Michelle made it very clear that I had to ask her dad.
Okay, but wait, I didn't know how old Lance was when I met him. If you look at him, he did, and he even looked younger back then. I was like, oh, and then once I started catching feelings, and then all of a sudden he's like, I'm this old, and I'm like, me 20-year-old me, I was like, whoa.
Yeah,
I actually never would approach a guy if I knew it.
savage.
But
No, I totally forgot about that. Yeah, I remember being super like, not weirded out, but like nervous, like, dang, is she gonna, I mean, I guess for sure it could be like a really big deal. But when I told you, like, you were fine.
well, yeah, I liked you already. I'm not gonna be like, oh, because you're this age, I'm leaving you now.
I know, right? I literally thought
Blocked.
like, no, I was literally thinking like, can I get away with not telling her? Oh man, that would have been horrible. I don't think it made things weird, but it kind of, I guess maybe that's why you were like, let me get my approval or the approval from my parents, right? Or my dad.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So, yeah, so she So that was kind of like in the air, like, okay, you gotta talk to my dad. And I hadn't met him at this point. So the church has like events, right? They have like the Christmas tree lighting and all that, right? So up until this point, we had been talking. I met her Halloween, so October. November like all of November we're talking and all of that. And then that's where, we start taking an interest, and that's where you tell me that I have to tell your dad. So I finally met her dad in December, and then met him, he's a funny guy, he's a crazy guy, just making fun of me the whole time, but I'm used to it with, the whole Hispanic culture. I asked him if he wanted to hang out, like go to eat. His favorite place to eat is Norm's. So I took him to Norm's, and yeah, pretty much just bought him dinner and asked him if it was cool if I date his daughter. And he was cool. He was cool about it. It's like, yeah, fine. Fast forward, we end up going out. I set up a date. We went to downtown Riverside. And where did we go?
Where I worked. So I worked at
Oh yeah, I forgot you worked there.
I worked at the old spaghetti factory. And it was like literally right there by downtown Riverside where they had the lights for the mission in. And so we went to go have dinner there because,
You get a discount.
we need a discount. No. And their food is good, so it was cool. So and then we were just chatting and everything. I literally was not expecting it. I don't think so. I can't really remember. But then I was like, oh, I'm going to go to the restroom or something. And I guess you like saw this balloon guy.
Yeah, there's like a random guy walking around like making balloons for like kids and stuff. And I was like, because I wanted to have like something special, clever, sweet, I don't know, whatever. And so, yeah, I was like, I asked him I was like, is there any way he could make a soccer ball? He blows it up and then draws on it. Like that was pretty much the best that he could do. So like, and that was super clutch. But then I told him, I was like, oh, can you write, will you goal out with me? And
You feel proud of that?
I thought it was like super clever. I was like, good job, Lance. And so yeah, she came back, and do you remember exactly how that happened?
Not really, but I remember you were just like, oh, here's a balloon, I think, or something. And I was like, oh, cool, it's a soccer ball. And me, if anyone knows me, I'm super like bubbly and blondie sometimes. I'm like, oh, cool. And then he's like, read the balloon.
She's like, oh.
And I was like,
juggling it.
oh. I was like, oh, that's so sweet. And it says, will you go out with me? And I was like, oh, yes. And then the rest was history.
So December 4th, 2015, we officially became a couple. We only talked for about a month, but, we decided, I think we knew that we liked each other and we were ready to take the first step. The next step was engagement, but that took a lot longer. And we will tell you all about that next time.
Like and subscribe.
Peace.